Hello and welcome to another Wormpaints paint remix. My name's Kyle and we're going to have a look at a sprint car today. Just before I load it up, this is a sprint car that I recently did for Mick Wilson. I thought I'd just show him as we're going through the intro here. Basically what this little video is about is someone will send me a PSD file of one of their paints and I'll spend a bit of time going over it and suggesting a few things that I would personally change, just through my personal taste and what I'd like to change on the vehicle. It's not always the right way or the wrong way, but it's just how I'd like to do it. So get a chance to see a few little different ways of doing things, and hopefully someone takes something away from it. The last video we put up was pretty well received. Hope people enjoyed it. Hopefully we'll get a few more out of the way. So yeah, that's this car. I will now load up the sprint car we've got from David Bennett. I'll do that now. Alright, so we've got this one of David's loaded up. It's a pretty tidy looking paint to start off with. There's not too much I really want to do here, but sharpen up a couple lines here and there, just a few different placements, but all in all it's pretty good looking. One thing that I will change though, and this paint was probably made for a 360 or a 305. You can see up the top the World of Outlaws logo is overlapping where it says it ain't weak to speak. What I like to do with mine, I always allow for that on the 410, so that way even if you're providing a paint for someone for a 305 or a 360, when they do load it up on the 410 it won't overlap that logo. So that's one thing I'll change there. So we'll jump straight into Photoshop with this one. Alright, so we've got the PSD file up in front of us now. I did have, 1 second, there we go. Now I'll just zoom in a little bit on it. Now this one's been made with a smart template, and the smart template was made by Cameron Colby. It's a great way to make your paints. I highly recommend jumping onto his site, Colby's Eye Paints, and downloading it, because what you do is, let's just turn on all the guides and everything here, so you see all your normal sort of templates set up, but down here there's a layer, which is a smart layer, and if anyone is not sure what a smart layer is, basically it's another layer that you can alter independently, and it automatically updates onto another file. So from here you can generally just double click on this layer and it will take you to this next page, where you can see the sides of the sprint car. And the good thing about this is he's actually placed all the parts of the sprint car right next to each other, how they actually look in the game. So you can just lay a logo straight across the two panels, and it will automatically line up, which would be very difficult in the original template. So Cameron makes quite a few the smart templates. There are a few other ones going around. It's a great help to anyone in the painting community, so I recommend checking them out if you're not already aware of them. It makes life a lot easier. That being said, I'll get into a few changes. One thing I'm going to change, and it's a little bit sort of unsure whether I normally would or not, is the bush chook logo here. I find on the side of the car, I'll just jump back to the picture, the side of the car, while the logo has got a bit of detail, that from distance it does sort of disappear again. So I'm thinking maybe I might actually just bring out the text of the bush chook, make that bigger, and leave the bottom part of the logo off, whereas that's being used on other parts of the car anyway, but it might just sort of pop a little bit more. So I'm going to make a few changes and I'll pop back in a minute. Okay, well, like I said, I wasn't really planning to change too much on this one, so all I've really done is I changed that "it ain't weak to speak" at the top, like I said, to go around the World of Outlaws logo. I've also enlarged the bush chook text and removed the little part of the illustration below the text on the logo, which is still intact on the front wing. I did the same the other side too, just sort of looking from back further, you can still read it quite clearly. About the only other thing I did was under the wing here, there was a little image of Daniel Ricciardo in there. I've just shrunk that down the tiniest little bit just so it would clear this Dirt Vision logo that's automatically applied on the 410s. That was literally about it's about 90% of the size it was before, so it's not a big deal. I also realigned these logos at the back, just tightened them up, and now they're sort of like all equally spaced. There was a bit of uneven gaps in between there beforehand. Apart from that, I haven't changed too much at all. So what I'm going to do now is, like I said, that was the first sort of lot that I'd really sort of attend to, as far as just tidying it up a little bit. But it was pretty good to start off with. But because there wasn't much to do with it, now I'm going to have a little bit of fun, and I'm just going to mix it up a little bit and make a few changes and give my little spin on it. So I'll do that now, and we'll show you that shortly. Okay, so I've made a few changes. I'll just go through what I've done. I'll just jump into the Smart Template section for a second. So obviously I have added a little bit of orange in here, so I've continued on the orange from the Push Chook logo, brought it and I put it on the side of the wing, changed the Next Level logo to the black, and then all through this other pattern I've done an orange stroke just inside the grey sections, just to help tie it in. I've also put a few logos on the nose as well. Now, one thing that was missing on the original, there was a little gap, this side section here where that dropped away, just in there on the car, where it ran up onto the nose. There was a gap in the black. You didn't notice it before when it was just grey, but when the orange stroke was added, it really stuck out a lot more. So I just added this little section on the side of the nose to help tie that in. And then going back to the main template, throwed a bit of orange around, put orange back behind the name, Bennett there as well, and then also, like I said, added some stroke in on the side of the wings and that there. So on the car, we'll have a look what it looks like. I'll just drop this away for a second. Alright, so let's just get rid of that. And there we go. So we'll have a little look around the car. So yeah, you can see on the bonnet there, and I haven't even lined it up perfect, but across the bonnet it's carried on. It probably looks better on the other side. Probably actually lined it up properly there. It's still rough, but you get the idea. And yeah, that little splash of orange around just helps tie the logo and that in. It just makes it stand out a little bit more on track. But like I said, this is all personal taste as well. David might actually like a black and grey car and might not want any of the colour on it, which, I mean, I've done that before too, ran purely black and grey cars. It is nice. Occasionally they got that little bit of a stealthy look to them. But yeah, that's what I did. I'll just show it running around the track a little bit. Jump out of that. So just excuse my terrible driving, but you can see what it looks like around the track. These 410s are a handful around the chili bowl, so just trying to point it around. So you find, if you can see in that image, and it might just be my graphics, but sometimes the finer strokes lose an awful lot of quality when you zoom out a little bit. So you can see they look a little bit broken up. So normally I probably wouldn't personally choose that, but yeah, it looks good up close, and I suppose if you get your graphics running on a higher setting, it probably looks a little bit better. So yeah, thanks to David for sending that one over. What I'll do now is I'll go and take a couple of side-by-side shots again, so we can have a look at them. So you can see pretty much the main obvious differences are the added accents of the colour, and then changing the logo size along this the top sideboard. And apart from that, only just real subtle little differences. I actually like David's design right from the get-go anyway. So I don't know if I made it any better or any worse. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's just sort of almost like an alternate sort of look. So that's the views from the front anyway. I'll just have a look at the rear ones. Yeah, the only real changes here was just the placement of the logos here. And then just the movement of a few little things just to clear some of the logos that are automatically applied when you run them in the 410s. It's a shame that I actually should have loaded it up without them on there, and you would have seen all the details underneath, but it doesn't really matter. They kind of work. They flood it enough that you don't see the logo underneath, so it doesn't look too distracting anyway. But yeah, that's that one done. Once again, thanks to David for sending me the PSDs. If anyone else wants to send some over, keep doing it. I'll keep having a little play while it's still fun. Yeah, thank you very much. We'll see you next time.